Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and taking time out of your Wednesday. And welcome to this educational presentation brought to you by Specialist Trading. Now, today, I'd like to talk to you about an entirely different way to trade candlesticks. I would assume that the majority of you out there today, we have a pretty large crowd today, are either trading with or have traded with candlesticks in some capacity, either currently or in the past. And most traders do use candlesticks or have them positioned on their chart. The only problem is, are you getting the type of results that you were promised when you first started to learn about applying candlesticks? For example, let's look at this chart right here. Or I should say, let's look at the definition first before we go on to the chart. Here's the standard definition of candlestick patterns. Candlestick patterns are reversal patterns, usually occurring at the top or bottom of a trend. Okay, so now let's go and look to the chart once we have the standard definition in place. So as we can see, now we're in a clear-cut downtrend. Obvious to see that we're going lower and lower. So we're looking for some type of reversal pattern. Now, let's say you're a student of some other type of analysis. Let's say you like to watch support and resistance, and you think that there's major support right here. And then along with that, with your candlestick studies, you see a couple of buy setups. You see two bullish engulfing patterns. So right now, your analysis tells you that this is very bullish, so you want to jump in and buy. Let's say you took both opportunities and purchased some calls, or maybe you bought the actual stock. And then you see this happen, right? Now this works the other way as well. For example, we see here an older chart of Apple. The stock is going up very nicely, but it's gapped up, and it looks like it may have gone up a little too soon. Perhaps all the indicators are overbought. And on top of that, with your candlestick analysis, you see that there's a bearish engulfing pattern, a very strong reversal pattern. So you decide to sell. Maybe you want to buy some puts in Apple or some type of spread strategy with a bias to the downside, and then this happens. So you ask yourself, you've studied candlesticks. They're supposed to work and help you, but how come you're not seeing the type of results you want? Most traders at this point will say, is there a better way to trade candlesticks? Well, that is the goal behind today's presentation, because I'm going to actually share with you an entirely different way to trade with candlesticks that I really strongly feel will increase your odds for consistency. And on top of that, you're going to see how simple it is to apply the process on our platform. This is the PTS Primo charting platform that actually teaches traders a new way to trade with candlesticks. So welcome once again. This is going to be a great educational presentation. My name is Steven Primo, president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, we are all about one thing, and that is simply educating you. You see, the reason why our focus is on educating you is, well, ask yourself, how do you make your trading decisions? Do you rely on going to a chat room, or do you watch TV waiting for some so-called trading guru to tell you what to buy or sell, or do you subscribe to some blog that tells you what to buy or sell on a nightly basis? When you are doing that, you are basically taking yourself out of the game. And what you're basically telling the market is, I don't know what to do, all right? Can you think of any business or any endeavor where someone would go into it saying, I really don't know what to do. Why don't you tell me what to do? Unfortunately, our entire business is based on that premise. You buy some $1,000 system that automatically spits out buy and sell orders. You have no idea what it's based off. Or you watch some guy on TV. He's supposed to know what he's talking about, right? He's been trading for so many years and he knows exactly what he's doing. So I guess he must have all the right answers. Or maybe you go to a chat room or a trading room and everyone says that this guy knows what is best, so you just simply mirror whatever he's doing. That, in my opinion, is a recipe for disaster. Unfortunately, that's what the entire industry is based on. And look at your own trading decision process. Is that the way you make your trading decisions? Now, once you've done that, ask yourself, are you getting the type of trading results you want? You see, I've been trading for 43 years now, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that no two traders should ever trade alike. In other words, you should never take anyone's recommendation, never even ask anyone, what do you think of the market? You should already know this just by looking at a chart. But the main reason traders don't know this, and the main reason they rely on someone or something else, is because they haven't had the sound fundamental education. Well, here's where Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies come in. This is the service we provide. We are simply educators that supply you with education that has stood the test of time. Techniques, methods, and strategies that hold high levels of consistency. So that's our job as a mentor, not to trade for you, because a good mentor does not trade for you. He does not tell you what to buy or sell. He simply teaches you so that you can make those decisions on your own. And you'll see our attention to detail today and how we really want to educate you in today's educational presentation. But before we begin, once again, as always, we are first required by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results looking at this new way to trade candlesticks. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And also please remember that all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, I see a lot of new faces today in today's presentation. We have a good crowd here today. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. I post different information on a daily basis. There's our handle right there. You may want to copy that down. All education information, anywhere from signals our strategies have generated and why they were generated to little bits of financial wisdom along the way. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, remember, as I stated in the opening statements, we're a little bit different from other companies and other webinars you may have attended in that our only goal is simply to educate you. So if you come here today thinking that, well, I guess Steve's going to tell me what to buy or sell for tomorrow with this new candlestick technique, well, you've come to the wrong place. That's not what we do. Remember, the reason why most traders fail, in my opinion, is because you're taking yourself out of the game. You're not a part of the process. You're basically giving up and saying, why don't you tell me what to do? All right, spit out the signals for me automatically, or tell me what to buy or sell in the chat room. That's why we don't have chat rooms or trading rooms at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies, just because they would serve as a crutch and they would basically really point you in the wrong direction. Our goal as an educator is not to trade for you, but our goal is to teach you how to trade with the Specialist Edge. This is the same edge that was taught to me when I first started trading some 4 decades ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, and what turned my trading around and what I really believe has been able to sustain me now for over 4 decades. So hopefully what I teach you will be the same way. You'll be able to trade, not just have a great month or two, but have a great decade or two, okay? Now, since this is going to be a class, I want to take each and every one of your questions, but please wait till the end of class to ask questions. I don't want to stop at every slide. Many times your question will be answered on the very next slide. So if you have a question, write it down or try to remember it. I promise I'll get to it at the very end. We have a great offer for you as well at the very end, so you might want to stick around. Now, also on top of this, the only question I will answer is the most common, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. So each and every one of you will get a link to this recording at the very end of today's class, okay? So remember, if you do have a question, just wait till the end of class, and I promise I'll get to each and every one of them at the end and answer your questions at the very end. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's presentation, today's educational presentation. So we're going to talk to you about an entirely different way to trade candlesticks, and it is so simple. You know, it took me a while to figure this out, and once my mentors shared it with me, I realized that all I had to do was make a small minor adjustment to get on that road to consistency with candlesticks. Remember, the standard definition and the way everyone is taught about how to apply candlesticks is to use them as a reversal pattern. All right, when you have a strong uptrend, what you're looking for is a reversal pattern in a candlestick pattern so that you can sell. When you have a strong downtrend, you're looking for a reversal pattern or some type of bottoming candlestick pattern so that you can buy. All right, now here's what I learned from my mentors. Candlestick patterns will actually have a higher level of consistency if you trade them in sync with the trend. So this goes entirely against what we've all been taught. Okay, we all were taught that they're supposed to be reversal patterns, but in reality, you will have a higher level of consistency if you trade them with the trend as opposed to trading them against the trend. Let me show you what I mean here. Here's a real strong downtrend, okay? Same thing works with a real strong uptrend. What you want to do is find the candlestick patterns in sync with those trends. Now, there are a number of ways in which you can start doing this today. These are the generic ways in which to discern what the trend is. You can use indicators, all right? A lot of people like to use moving averages. You can also use patterns, okay? Higher highs, higher lows for an uptrend, or for a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. You can also use different time frames. Most of us have been taught that you want to get the higher time frame, let's say a weekly time frame, to be in sync with a lower time frame or a daily time frame, all right? These are all well and good. They're all standard generic ways for defining the trend, except they really don't have a very high level of consistency. They're usually a day late and $1 short. For example, if we look at this chart here in Aetna, Someone looking at this would say, well, it looks like we're going up, but I don't have any confirmation yet. But right around this time, you say, okay, we're in an uptrend. And on this little pullback, that's where you decide to buy. So you buy somewhere around these levels, okay? So you feel very confident. You're trading with the trend. You're excited about this nice profit you're going to make. And then this happens, right? Look familiar. This is the way most standard generic trending tools help you find out what the trend is. They'll work okay most of the time, but then times like this, you wind up giving a lot of your profits back. So what we need is an early trend detector, something that's not too late, something that'll tell us before it even appears as if a trend is beginning that we're in an uptrend or in a downtrend. Now, in my 43 years of trading, I have never found anything better than the PET-D. This is the best short-term trending tool I know of, and I use it on a daily basis. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds of ways to apply this, but let's use this in its most basic form as a short-term trend identifier, okay? Because what the PET-D is, it's a translator. It's not a signal provider. It doesn't tell you when to buy or when to sell. It's not a predictor. It doesn't tell you how high or how low something will go. It simply tells you on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. And this is any market, any time frame, and any direction. Now, when I first learned about this tool from my mentors on the floor of the stock exchange, this was something we had to calculate. We used to call it the formula. We had to calculate this almost on a tick-by-tick basis, and it was very cumbersome. But we've taken all of the hard work out of it for you. We've made it into a proprietary color bar tool. So let me show you how simple it is, and especially how simple it is on the platform that we designed that you can make trading simple. Okay, now all you have to do on our platform is click on the PET-D tab right here in the upper green strategy tab, and the colors automatically change. There's no formula you have to calculate the way I had to some 4 decades ago. It's all done for you automatically. When you see a series of 3 to 5 green bars, you're in an uptrend. So look how the PET-D defined an uptrend well in advance. And look how the PET-D defined a downtrend well in advance, well before you found out that you had a major loss on your hands, okay? This is the beauty of the PET-D. It is the best tool I know of that can define the short-term trend in any market. It doesn't have to be stocks, it could be futures, currency pairs, Bitcoin, it could be tick charts, it could be weekly, monthly bars. It makes absolutely no difference. All right, so let's look at that downtrend. Someone looking at this in hindsight would say, well, yeah, sure, Steve. I mean, it's easy to see now that we've been in a downtrend, right? But how could I have known back here that we were going to be in a strong downtrend? Well, you apply the PET-D and look at the series of red bars. We knew well in advance that we were in a downtrend, well before the stock went to new lows. And the same thing works with an uptrend. Someone could say, well, Steve, we kind of were consolidating right here, and then I got long around here. I wanted to know back at these levels if we were in an uptrend. Okay, you apply the PET-D. And right here, 3 green bars, right at this level before you start to go up. So let's talk about trading candlestick patterns, most specifically engulfing patterns in sync with the PET-D. Now you can apply this technique with virtually any candlestick pattern, but let's talk about engulfing patterns because they are probably the simplest pattern to identify. And on top of that, they are some of the most consistent ones as well in terms of candlestick patterns. So here's the technique I'm going to be sharing with you today for bullish engulfing patterns. You're only going to buy a bullish engulfing pattern if the engulfing bar, which is bar number 2, is colored green. That's it. See, trading is really simple. You don't have to overcomplicate things when you have the right tools and when you have the right methods. So if you see a bullish engulfing pattern, apply the PET-D. If bar number 2 is green, all you need is bar number 2 to be green, then that's a highly consistent setup. So a bullish engulfing pattern, for those people who aren't aware of engulfing patterns, is a 2-bar pattern. Bar number 1 opens and closes lower. Bar number 2 opens and closes higher. And the range from open to close of bar number 2 engulfs bar number 1. Now, all we need to do is add the PET-D. And if this bar is outlined green, then that's a highly consistent setup. All right, so let's look at this older example and win. All right, someone looking at this will say, well, Steve, I was always taught to look for the trend in the, to buy on a strong downtrend or to sell on a strong uptrend. And there's no trend here at all. In fact, this is a range market. Why would I want to trade this? Remember how I told you how sensitive the PET-D was? let's apply the PET D and forget about the range, forget about what some guy's saying on TV or in a chat room. What is the market telling us? All right, that's the only thing you should be listening to. I stopped looking at news. I stopped listening to people on TV and in chat rooms, years ago, decades ago, and I'm still here. So if it can work for me, it can work for you. There's no reason you have to use those things. So what is the market telling us? What's our translator telling us? Well, we click on the PET D, or actually I should say, here's a bullish engulfing pattern. So now we click on the PET D and we see that bar number 2 is colored green. So right now the market is telling us that it wants to go higher, and it's confirmed by our short-term trending tool. So that's a high probability setup where everyone else was saying, well, this is just doing nothing. It's going sideways. And the stock went up 12 points in 1 week, okay? Now, let's say you want to go short with a bearish engulfing pattern, all right? Well, you're only going to sell if the engulfing bar, that's bar number 2, is colored red. So if we look at our standard bearish engulfing, it's a 2-bar pattern. Bar number 1 opens and closes higher. Bar number 2 opens and closes lower. And the range from open to close with bar number 2 engulfs the range open to close bar number 1. Now, this would be a standard generic bearish engulfing pattern that you see at the top of a strong uptrend. We don't care. All we care is when we apply the PET D that bar number 2 is colored red. We don't care what bar number 1 is colored. We don't care if you're going up or down. We just want to see that. That's telling us through our translator, the PET D, that this is a high probability short setup. So remember that example we were looking at earlier? We have a strong downtrend in FOSL. This is an older example, okay? Now here's the way most of us were taught to trade candlesticks, as a reversal pattern. So as we're going lower, we want to look to buy. And what do we have here? A bullish engulfing pattern, all right? Bar number 2, open to close range engulfs bar number 1. But should we really be buying that? We apply the PET D, and we see that not only is bar number 2 red, but all the bars have been red. So you want to be in sync with the trend. So you're not going to take that trade. And it was a good idea you didn't do it, because most likely you would have lost. Remember, I told you the standard way I have found, in my own opinion, for trading traditional candlestick patterns really doesn't have a high level of consistency. You will have a high level of consistency if you trade them in sync with the downtrend. So using the same candlestick pattern, you could have actually not taken that, but taken this sell, a bearish engulfing pattern, and another one right here. So do you see how this works in your favor? Just by applying this simple little twist, you will increase your odds for consistency. All right, when we combine these two techniques, what we do is we create our Candlestick Combo. This is one of our most successful packages around the world. We have students trading this in over 115 countries and virtually every state in the United States. This is our Candlestick Combo. And let me show you some examples, okay? But first of all, remember, everything you're going to be seeing now was created on our PTS Primo charting platform. We created this to make candlestick trading really simple. Everything is one click away. All right, so let's look at some recent examples using this technique of the Candlestick Combo. And we'll show you the process of how simple it is to apply this on our PTS Primo charting platform. Okay, here's KO. This was in the beginning of January coming into the middle, obviously in an uptrend. We've all been taught that we're in an uptrend, we're looking for a reversal. So we should be looking for some candlestick pattern that tells us we're going to sell. But what do we have here? We have a bullish engulfing pattern. Well, conventional wisdom tells us, well, we're not supposed to take that. We only take that at the bottom of a downtrend. But remember, conventional wisdom shows no levels of consistency. So what we want to do is confirm this with a PET D. So on our platform, we click on the PET D in the upper green strategy tab right here. And then it automatically changes the color. So what color is bar number 2? It's green. So that's a high probability setup that this wants to go higher. And coming into the first week of February, you see how the stock went almost straight up, okay? Now, even when Coke was going lower, when we had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of downward closes, look what the PET D colored. It colored each one of these downward days green or outlined them green. So this means that even though we had a sell-off, you were still in a short-term uptrend. So not to get caught up and think that the market was going lower. Do you see how valuable this tool is? All right, another example, CVX. And by the way, we're only going to be, you can apply this with any candlestick pattern. We're only going to be looking at bullish and bearish engulfing patterns. First of all, because they're the easiest to identify for a lot of the people in class today that don't know much about candlesticks. And secondly, because they are used as a strong reversal, we're going to show you how it applies so much better to trading with the trend, okay? But just remember, you can use this with any candlestick pattern. We just want to keep things simple today for the newbies in our presentation. All right, CVX, all right, we're looking at this. This was in mid-January, just about a month ago. Let's say your analysis says, this is major support, Steve. I took that $10,000 class on the institutions and where they buy and sell, and they're all buying right here. So I want to be a buyer too, okay? Once again, do you see how my justification was made off of what someone or something else is doing? It's not based off the chart in front of you. Remember, people, that's the source of what you're trading. That's where your decision process should be coming from, not from what an institution or what some guy on TV is saying, not even from what some guy on a webinar is saying. I never tell my students what to buy or sell. I just teach them so that they can decide what to buy or sell. So never listen to someone or something else. So we don't care about what someone says there's support here. I stopped looking at support 4 decades ago. The only thing I listen to is the PET D. Now on top of that, with the PET D added, we see that all the bars are red. So why would I concern myself with support when the market, not some guy in a chat room, but the market is telling me it's in a downtrend? So who cares about support when I'm in a downtrend? So as I see all the red bars here, there is a bearish engulfing pattern. So this is a high probability candlestick combo setup to go short. And as you can see, the stock fell out of bed right there. You see how simple this is? And the good thing is, if you miss that many times, there's another setup along the way. So you don't have to worry about taking each and every one. If the trend is strong enough, you'll see more along the way. This went from roughly 116 all the way down to 105. All right, let's look at PGR. Strong uptrend in place, right? Normally we want to sell, but what do we see here? 2 bullish engulfing patterns. And on top of that, when we add the PET D, they're both green. The second bar is green. So we're not hitting any top here. We're going to continue most likely higher. As you can see, PGR went roughly from 74 all the way up to 84, 10 points coming into first week of February. All right, AAP. This was the last week in January. It's obviously in a downtrend. It's plain to see that we're going lower. Now we have a bullish engulfing pattern right here. Okay, here's a bullish engulfing pattern. But look what happened to that. All right. We were in a downtrend, a short-term downtrend. What happened to that bullish engulfing pattern? It would have been much better if you looked at this bearish engulfing pattern. Why? Because the PET D has colored all these bars red. So why would you take this setup if it was colored red? Now this one is good. And someone could say, but Steve, that's a 10-point setup. Well, sure, you don't have to take it. Perhaps you could have bought some puts because the stock went down 10 points in the next week or so. Let's look at SHOP, okay? And I'll show you an example, a more up-to-date example at the end of today's presentation. But from December coming into the beginning of February, obvious, in hindsight, we're in an uptrend. It doesn't take much, conviction to know that we've been going higher. But how could you have known we were in an uptrend back here? Well, you apply the PET D on our platform, and it automatically changes the colors. So we knew that we were in an uptrend back here when the stock was going sideways in November. This is the beauty of the PET D. A stock does not have to go straight up for the PET D to tell you it's in an uptrend. And it doesn't have to go straight down for the PET D to tell you it's in a downtrend. That's the beauty. That's how sensitive this is. Now, once we knew the trend well in advance, trading is as simple as just identifying the bullish engulfing patterns. That's all you had to do. How about FIVE, all right? Doesn't look like much direction right here. In fact, we're going in a sideways market. Most people would stay away from this, but as we see, when we apply the PET D, we not only have the majority of the bars red, but we have a bearish engulfing pattern. And bar number 2 is colored green. You see, red. Bar number 1 is colored green because the PET D is that sensitive. It had determined that we were starting to go up. But look at how sensitive it is. On the very next bar, it changed its mind and said, you know what? The market is still in a downtrend. On top of that, there's a bearish engulfing pattern. So this is all we need to confirm that we have a candlestick combo setup. The stock opened down 10 points the next day. Someone could say, well, how did you know that? Do you guys follow the news? There most likely was some news event. Do you guys follow the earnings? Or how do you know it was going to gap down 10 points? Remember, we don't predict anything. The only thing we do is teach our students high probability setups of what the market wants to do. And then we just jump on board. And we also teach you different exit points, different entry points, and different stop placement. But those are all different pieces of the puzzle, which come along in our course. Here's an example in letter V, okay? Obviously, we're in an uptrend. Well, let's see how we usually would have traded this. Most of you would have traded with candlesticks. You say, well, Steve, I've always been taught in an uptrend, look for a reversal pattern. And what do I have here? I have a bearish engulfing pattern. So, Steve, I'm sorry, but I took that $1,000 course on the candlesticks. I'm going to sell. And look what happens, okay? Remember, there is not a very high level of consistency when you're trading candlesticks in the traditional or conventional way. You will have a higher level of consistency if you are in sync with the trend. And what is the best way, in my opinion, for finding the trend? It's applying the PET D. And it's so simple on our platform. You click on PET D and see how the PET D, well in advance, before it was going higher here in December, was telling you you're in an uptrend. And see how you could have applied and not traded this, but could have applied all the different bullish engulfing patterns along the way. Now, an example in SYY, this was at the very end of January, just a couple of weeks ago. Looks like we're in a no trend range market once again, so you don't want to do anything, but we're tracking bullish and bearish engulfing patterns. And we have not only one, two, but three bullish or bearish engulfing patterns. Here's a bullish engulfing pattern right here. Here's a bearish one, and here's a bearish one. So which ones do we take? Because after all, we're just kind of going sideways. Here's the beauty of the PET D. The PET D is a great filter because once you apply the PET D, you know whether or not to take that setup. For example, this bullish engulfing pattern would need it to be colored green, this second bar, or outline green, in order for us to take it. And what color is the outline? It's red. So we're not going to take that trade. But we have two bearish engulfing patterns, and both of the second bar, the engulfing bars, are colored red. So these are valid setups to go short if you like. You could have used this to buy puts in SYY, let's say at 82, and the stock was trading at 74 just about a week later. You see how simple this is? There is no need to follow news or earnings. There's no need to follow, justification of what's going on economically. There's no need to waste your time going to a chat room and listening to someone that doesn't really know any more than you do. I mean, you can do those things if you want, but why waste your time? Trading should be simple. You shouldn't have to overcomplicate it. And I can't think of any way to make it simpler with your candlestick trading than to apply these two methods. Here's another example in Apple, okay? This was coming into January. We're obviously in an uptrend. There's a bearish engulfing pattern, and look what happened. If we had applied the PET D on our platform, we would have known well in advance that that was not a confirmed bearish engulfing pattern. So we'd not have taken the trade, but look at all the other opportunities we had to go long. Why? Because we are in sync with the trend. You see, when you trade against the trend, that's like swimming upstream. And think of it, if you're vacationing in the mountains on a river, and how fun would it be to swim against the current while you're trying to get from point A to point B? It wouldn't be very fun, right? If you're especially going against a strong current. But what if you had the current at your back? Well, that would be a nice, enjoyable experience. Trading is the same way. You should never swim against the current. All right. Obviously, someone looking at this will say, well, Steve, there's no current here. There's no trend. We're going basically sideways. But there's a bearish engulfing pattern. So how do you know whether to take it or not? You apply the PET D, and you see that even though it appears the stock is going sideways, all of the bars are red, and bar number 2 is red. So the market is telling you, not some guy in a chat room, not some guy on TV, the market, not some earnings report, not some economic report that just came out about jobless claims. The market is telling you, the chart in front of you is telling you it wants to go lower. This is the only thing you should ever listen to. And as you can see, a week later, the stock dropped from roughly 170 down to 135, okay? Now let's look at some different time frames and some different markets because not everyone just trades daily bars of stocks. Here's a weekly chart of SYNA. Now this was in September of last year. All right, we have roughly about a month or so upward movement. We have a bullish engulfing pattern. Someone would say, well, Steve, that's not enough to tell me that I should go long, right? I mean, I need more than a month or just 4 bars of data. Well, not really. All you need is really 2 bars of data, because once you apply the PET D, you just need to know what bar number 2's color is. If you have a standard bullish engulfing pattern, which is a 2-bar pattern, you just need to know what the color is, and it's outlined green. So that was telling you that it's okay to buy this if you're a swing trader or an investor on a weekly time frame. As you can see, the stock's gone up 50 points in the next 4 months coming into February. How about, I should say, currency pairs? This is NZD GBP, that's in New Zealand British pound. It's a daily chart of the currency pair. Obviously, it's in a downtrend, right? So instead of looking for bullish engulfing patterns, we look for a bearish engulfing pattern, which we have right here, because we're in sync with the trend. Just to confirm, we have the PET D. We see that all the bars are being colored red. In fact, the PET D knew that this was in a downtrend well in advance. And so the currency pair fell 150 pips in 1 week. All right, that's $1,500 potentially could have captured per unit. Now, how about some day traders? I know we have a lot of day traders that like to trade intraday on the QQQs. All right. Well, this just happened the 10th. All right. This was on Monday. Here's a 30-minute chart of the QQQs. That's the ETF that represents the NASDAQ index. All right. Once again, someone who doesn't know about what we teach at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies would say, well, Steve, this is a range market. I'm going to look for another market. I'm not going to get whipsawed in this thing. I'll lose a lot of money. That's standard or traditional way of discerning what the trend is. If you apply the PET D, you see that we're actually in an uptrend. Where everyone else was saying this is a range market, the PET D is so sensitive, it's telling you that no, you're actually in an uptrend. And so you should be looking for buy setups in the form of a bullish engulfing pattern, which you have right there. As you can see, you would have potentially been able to gain 5 points in just 1 hour using this candlestick combo for intraday trading. All right, so let's recap what we taught you today. Remember, only buy or sell candlestick patterns that are in sync with the PET D. You will have a higher level of consistency if you only trade candlesticks in sync with the PET D. Now ask yourself, do you think these methods that make up the candlestick combo can help your trading going into 2020? Well, everything we've shown you is just a piece of the puzzle, because remember, these are extremely important points. I did not talk about what makes up a complete strategy. In other words, all I did was highlight or place a spotlight on a high probability point of entry. But we did not talk about exactly where to enter. We did not talk about exactly where to place your stop placement. We didn't talk about exactly where to exit. And most especially, we didn't talk about money management. So those are all the components that make up a sound and very consistent strategy. So I have a great special for all of you in attendance today. We're going to offer you this strategy along with the PET D. This is our candlestick combo special. Strategy number 5, along with the PET D tool. You're going to get instant course access, detailed video instruction. You're going to learn all the different entries, exits, and stops. In fact, each one of these different categories has roughly about 7 different entries, exits, and stops to them. All right? You get the entire course rules along with 4 separate PET D trading techniques. All right? Now, this is a great offer because usually this would cost you thousands of dollars. For a limited time only. We're going to offer you all this, the candlestick combo, for only $4.97, a one-time payment of $4.97 plus $97 per month. All right, that is tremendously inexpensive. This usually goes for roughly over $3,000. Now, if you'd like to purchase this all together without making that payment, then you can purchase both courses with no lease for $29.95, a one-time payment, and we'll waive your first-year annual fee, okay? This is a great, great offer, but we're going to spice it up the offer a little bit more. We're not going to just stop there. We're going to also throw in 12 months of our PTS Primo charting platform. This is where you can apply this process with one click. Now, normally that would cost you close to $1,200. This has been thrown in absolutely free. There's no charge for 12 months of our platform. But there are so many other perks that come with the platform. You're going to get, obviously, the Candlestick Combo. You're going to get our automatic exit levels, our proprietary buy-sell line, our strength of trend tool. But here's the best bonus I can think of that comes along with the charts. You're going to get our scanner. Now, I just absolutely love, I'm biased. I designed the scanners with ProTrader strategies to make them extremely simple. Let's say you aren't able to be in front of your computer all the time and you come home from work and you want to know what the setups are for the next day. Now, remember, this is not a system where you have no idea why it's spitting out buy and sell orders. In our course, we teach you what to look for and what these signals are based on. But if you don't have time to look through the entire S&P 500, the bonus scanner will scan these for you in a matter of minutes. This is how simple it is. In the strategy tab where you saw with the PET D, there's strategy 5 tab. All you have to do is click on scan and you see this page appear. All right. And in less than a minute or two, you can scan through just numbers of different stocks, futures, currency pairs, indices, commodities, Bitcoin. It makes no difference. We provide you with all of this data. And if you see a green horizontal bar, that means there's a buy signal. A red means there's a sell signal. Now, let me share with you how consistent this can make you, because this just happened this past week or so. If you would have scanned for Candlestick Combo setups on the 7th, the night of the 7th, you would have seen there was a buy signal in SHOP, S-H-O-P, all right? This was on the night of the 7th. Now, actually, you could have scanned for this 5 minutes before the close. You would have seen that there was a Candlestick Combo buy setup. In order to validate it, you simply click on the PET D and you see that, yes, bar number 2 is colored red. And not only is that, green. And not only is that colored green, but all of them are colored green. So you have a strong uptrend in place, even though the stock is going sideways. Now, this was on the 7th, which I believe was last Friday, not even a week ago. And the stock has gone up 115 points in 3 days. Okay? You could have scanned for this with this Candlestick Combo. $497 for a one-time payment of $497, and this is $97 a month. This includes a full year of our platform. Now, you can also scan other markets. Here's a Canadian dollar scan that generated potentially 350 pips. Here's a sell in a 4-hour dollar yen scan, 100 pips. How about an E-mini futures, a 10-minute chart? There was a sell signal that was scanned using the Candlestick Combo, potentially 20 points you could have captured. And then look at this nice uptrend in an hourly chart of the E-mini. All right, this is an older chart, but look at all the buy signals you could have scanned for. So you see, it makes no difference what market, what time frame. The platform, along with the Candlestick Combo, will really increase your odds for consistency. And trust me, a year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Candlestick Combo course. All right, we're at the beginning of 2020. It's time to turn your trading around, most especially your candlestick trading around. Take advantage of this great offer, okay? You're going to get all this along with 12 months of the PTS Primo Charting Platform free. You have two choices. You can either have a one-time payment of $497 with $97 per month, or waive the annual fee and just have a one-time payment of $29.95 with no payments, okay? This is a great, great way to take your trading to the next level. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact ProTrader Strategies if you want to decide for them what's the best offer, what's the best recommendation. You can call them directly at area code 310-598-6677. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the sign-up page and also more information on them. But the live link has been posted in the chat box, so I would suggest going to the chat box in your GoToWebinar column and click that one on, okay? Excuse me. I'm fighting a cold, so I apologize for the loss of strength in my voice. I may be, breaking my voice every once in a while, but I'll be here as long as I can with you. The main thing I want to stress now is if you have any questions, please, now's the time to ask. I promised you the last portion of today's presentation I would resume for all of the different questions you may have. The main thing I do want to stress, though, if you have questions concerning pricing or discounts, or not sure which is the best way to go, there is absolutely no obligation. Just call ProTrader Strategies at 310-598-66. They would be more than happy to just work a payment plan with you and tell you what your options are, and to help you construct something so that you can be up and running with the Candlestick Combo, okay? So let me open up the question and answer box. It says, Joe asks, can I obtain the PET D from you and use it on my TradeStation charts? Yes, you can, Joe. The PET D can be used on just about all of the major trading platforms such as TradeStation, Metastock, MT4, Sierra Charts, Thinkorswim, NinjaTrader. There's just a few edits and alterations you have to make with Thinkorswim, but you can use it with that data. But personally, since this deal being offered today includes 12 years of our platform, which is so simple to apply, we specifically designed it to work out this process simply, I would go with that because it's right there. And toggle back. In other words, if you use TradeStation for your trading, then you can toggle back and forth between our educational platform and TradeStation. But yes, we do have the add-ons for TradeStation, if that's what you're asking, okay? Excuse me. Yes, someone is asking now, can I use this with NinjaTrader? Yes, you can. You can get the up and down arrows for the Candlestick Combo setups, and you can also get the PET-D tool as well for a NinjaTrader. But once again, I have used NinjaTrader. I've used TradeStation. It is so much simpler on our platform, just to, because we designed it with these things in mind. Because we know we have a lot of traders who have never traded before or have never used candlesticks before, and so we wanted to make it simple. Remember, we have people trading this around the world in over 115 countries and in every state, so we want to make it as simple as possible. Someone says, can I use this on commodities? Yes, you can. I didn't show any commodity examples, but yes, a lot of traders. Now, the market has been going straight up for the last 10 years or so. But when we do go into a sustained drawdown or sustained downward move, which I know will happen eventually, it may happen next year, it may happen next decade, it may happen next week. No one knows. But when it does, you'll want to be able to trade commodities, which a lot of people feel safer. They're more tangible. Yes, you can apply this wherever candlestick patterns are made and wherever there is a trend established, okay? Good questions. I think that's it. Someone's asking, can we use this intraday? You must have answered this before I showed those examples. Yes, I showed a 10-minute chart of the E-minis. I showed a 30-minute chart of the QQQ. So yes, I personally use this intraday myself. So there's absolutely no problem with applying the Candlestick Combo intraday, okay? Okay, looks like that's the number of questions we have. So before my voice goes out on me, remember, if you have any questions concerning pricing or tech support with the PTS Primo charting platform, do not hesitate to contact Pro Trader Strategies. They would be more than happy to answer any question, absolutely no obligation, and they can answer it over the phone, and then you can think about it. But don't sit on this very long, because this offer is not going to last forever. It's a limited time offer, and most likely by the next presentation I give next week, we will be talking about an entirely different offer, an entirely different special and discount. And this one will go back to thousands of dollars again. So if you're really serious about taking your trading to the next level, and this in any way was attractive to you, please do not hesitate to contact Pro Trader Strategies, okay? Okay, as we conclude and take one last look at our disclaimer here, I just want to say thanks for taking time out of your Wednesday to join us today. I hope you learned a little bit about candlestick trading and how you can increase your odds for consistency. But most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Candlestick Combo course. Thank you so much for attending today. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.